In just a few days, Honduras will vote on its next president, and the result could have huge implications for Taiwan. Two of the three major presidential candidates have indicated support for restoring diplomatic relations with Taiwan, just around 2 years after Honduras cut ties with the island in favor of China. This would be a major reversal, and a rare one. The first time any country has switched recognition from China to Taiwan since 2007. It would bring Taiwan's dwindling list of diplomatic allies up to 13, a staggering blow for China, which has been trying to isolate the country, which it claims as its territory. One frontrunner, Salvador Nasralla, has explicitly pledged to restore ties, calling relations with Beijing a mistake.
Yo voy a reanudar relaciones con Taiwán.
I will re-establish relations with Taiwan. Taiwan is our ally. Taiwan is an ally of the U.S., and we depend on the U.S. Not only is Communist China against the U.S., they don't do business with us. Not only that, we've lost all our shrimp exports. Coffee exports are down half since we established relations with China and left Taiwan. That was a grave error.
Another major candidate, Nasrias Fuda, has said the country was, quote, 100 times better off with Taiwan, and has promised to move Honduras away from China. The only frontrunner who has not publicly indicated support for ties with Taiwan is Honduras' current defense minister and ruling party candidate, Rishi Moncada, who follows the ruling party's line and is likely to stick with China. Taiwan has become an issue in this presidential race, largely due to widespread disappointment with how switching to China has affected the Honduran economy. One not yet released report by Expediente Abierto shows that even though Honduras is buying a lot more from China, Beijing hasn't returned the favor. Honduran exports to China haven't grown, leaving a huge trade gap. The shrimp industry in particular has been hit hard. Taiwan was once the largest market for Honduran shrimp, buying around 40% of the country's shrimp exports. After Honduras switched ties to Beijing, its shrimp exports fell dramatically. Coffee exports are also down.
Y hay un sentimiento de que ellos nos venden mucho y nosotros les vendemos poco y tenemos mucha presión de parte de China para que esa situación continúe. Entonces hay un sentimiento de cometimos un error, comercialmente estamos perdiendo.
Analysts say there's also a feeling that restoring ties with Taiwan would help Honduras align more with the United States. China appears to know what's at stake. China's embassy in Honduras has spent weeks amplifying messages on how the country has benefited from relations with Beijing, highlighting things like support for its shrimp and coffee industries, educational opportunities, and disaster relief aid. It also posted this more direct message, urging Honduran politicians to strictly observe the One China principle, act prudently on the Taiwan issue, and not harm China's sovereignty in any way. But some say the moves could be too little, too late.
Pero hay un sentimiento que ya no se cree mucho en lo que promete China.
If Honduras switches relations back to Taiwan, analysts say it could influence other countries in the region, especially those who have recently switched ties to Beijing and those that face similar economic concerns.
So these would be some kind of a game changer because, of course, this would open the discussion or the debate in other countries like Panama, for example, or the Dominican Republic, which were also among the latest countries. And of course, as you mentioned, it could also add to the ongoing discussion in places like Guatemala or Paraguay.
But the race appears unpredictable, with polls showing it could be close. And even if one of the pro-Taiwan candidates is elected, it's too early to say for sure whether they will follow through on their campaign promises. With so much at stake, Taiwan's foreign ministry has said it's watching the race closely. And on the other side of the strait, China has made clear it's invested as well. Chen, Lery, and Cadence Quaranta for TaiwanPlus.